Today I'm going to talk about this book, Kanji in Context, and how you need to read it in order to improve your Japanese. Okay, so I've never done a book review before, but I was hoping to at least get something out there because I know all of you are trying to study more Japanese, you're trying to improve your Japanese, and it's just not working, especially when it comes to kanji. And I think that I have the right book for you because this one really helped me out. And this book is called Kanji in Context, and it's actually a reference book, so it's not really a textbook. It comes with workbooks, but I never had those workbooks. And so I really enjoyed this. There's a love-hate relationship, but I think you're going to really benefit a lot from this book, and I'm going to tell you why. But before I get into why I enjoyed the book, I'm going to tell you a little bit about why these authors structured the book in the way they did, and if this book is the right level for you. So let's take it from the inside, where they actually break it down for us. So I'm just going to read it off to you. The target level. One of the assumptions for the effectiveness, One of the assumptions for the effective use of kanji in context is that the learner has mastered 200 to 300 kanji normally taught in typical beginning course. So if you haven't learned any kanji already, this is not the book for you. If you've started to learn kanji, you kind of have a little bit of a grasp on what that means, maybe this is what you should be looking at. In terms of this text, you should already be familiar with most of the keywords for the kanji entries in level 1, so that's up to 250. If you have mastered these kanji, then you should be able to make effective use of the reference book and the workbooks together. And I completely agree, this is not for beginners. So where to start? For the most part, levels 1 and 2 of the kanji entries in the reference book represent the beginning level of study. Level 3 represents intermediate level, and I completely agree with that too. Level 1 and 2 for me you should already have that mastered by the time you get to this book, because 1 and 2 should be review, and then level 3 is when you really start getting into what you need to know to live everyday life here in Tokyo or the rest of Japan. Skipping ahead. So let me tell you now why I especially enjoy this reference book. And this is something that I realized as I was studying it, and as I was preparing for this review, I was looking through the front few pages of the book, and I realized that they actually talk about this. So they really effectively structured this book in a way that I recognized on my own, and they did it on purpose. So let me just use their words to explain to you. So two things. One is focus of study is not on kanji only, but also on kanji-based vocabulary. That's one. Number two, kanji can be easily acquired by repeated exposure. So vocabulary, not just kanji, and repeated exposure are two things that I especially like about this reference book. And what does that mean? So let's skip ahead to number 3. Number three. I'm going backwards, but I'm going to skip ahead. Number 3. Okay. So in number 3, I'm going to give you a close-up of this too, but what this means is that it's not just a list of kanji. It has the kanji, it has the way you read it, which is basic for any kind of encyclopedia, but it also has a list of vocabulary, commonly used vocabulary. And what they try to do here is, okay, so that's the vocabulary thing. And what they try to do is repeated exposure. So what you'll see in these offered examples are they're trying to pull from previously learned kanji. And then sometimes they'll introduce something that hasn't come quite yet. And what this does is that it forces you to recall what you've already studied, and then it kind of makes you curious about what's coming up. And then when you study that, you'll recall that vocabulary. And this going back and forth, kind of recalling and then looking ahead, recalling, looking ahead, really helps to nail all, it really, really helps. So it's well done. It's really well structured in that way. And how many vocabulary could you learn if you just were to study this encyclopedia of sorts? I think it's somewhere around 8,000. So you can learn up to 8,000 words just by studying your kanji. So you're learning almost 2,000 kanji, almost 8,000 words, and it's a really easy to understand format. And for this, I highly, highly recommend it. I think you can find this in, well, actually I'm not sure, so I tried looking it up online. I thought maybe you could find it on Amazon, so let's see if we can find it on Amazon. $23.71. Okay, so it looks like I found it here on Amazon, and it's going for $23.71, which is really, really cheap. So if you're watching this video and you are serious about learning more kanji and you're an intermediate learner, I would say just the next thing you need to do is just go right to Amazon and buy this book. Thanks everyone for watching. If you like this book review, let me know. I don't have too many other books to review, but if there is something that you want to know about kanji, about studying Japanese, or just about living in Japan in general, I will try my best to help you out. I enjoy making these videos, and I wanted to try to help out as many people as possible. So maybe a question that you have, many other people might have. So just let me know, and I can put together a couple of responses and answer in video form that will not only help you out, but it will help out a lot of other people. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.